Hey, how are you? Andrew at St. Croix Cards on Instagram. And this is Road to the World Cup, powered by SlabStox. We only have 59 days as of this recording, so I'm not going to waste any time. We got to get on the road. So we're going to gas it up and get going here today. Lots to talk about. We have injuries. We got to talk about the ever popular Group B. We're going to look at who's hot, who's not. But grab your snacks. Let's get on the road. We got a lot to talk about. And the first thing and the first stop is all about the injuries. If you've been following soccer here in the past week, there are two players I want to highlight today. The first one, maybe you saw this image. This is Marco Reus being stretchered off the field against Schalke with another apparent injury. It seemed to be pretty bad. Now, upon further inspection and the doctors, there is some ligament damage in the ankle. You're looking at about 4 weeks recovery time is what they're saying. If that's the case, Marco Reus, 4 weeks. Recovery, 4 weeks to get kind of match ready, match fitness back, and then you may see him in Qatar playing for Germany at the World Cup. The bigger injury that I think we need to discuss is Calvin Phillips. This could be a major loss for England as we look down the road to Qatar. He's got a shoulder injury. They're saying that surgery is going to be needed. There's no definitive that he has gone and had it yet. But if he has the surgery, everything I could find is 7 to 9 weeks recovery. And this is the moment and the time where some of those injury concerns and those injuries are going to get extremely close to Qatar, or they're going to go into that Qatar World Cup timeframe. Now, Calvin Phillips would be a massive loss. Calvin Phillips had the second most minutes played at Euro 2020 for England. I think only John Stones had more. He was a central focus in that midfield. Now, that also gets you to kind of think, okay, well, if Calvin Phillips is out, who is in and who might benefit from the injury if you are on the England national team and if you're playing in the midfield. So 2 injuries to really watch. You know, Phillips came over from Leeds, that big move, has kind of had that injury concern, and now here another setback, another injury that might cost him his spot on the team going to Qatar. But the big topic of discussion today is all about Group B. Most people have their focus on Group B. And if you look at that group, you would know why, right? England's in that group. Iran is in that group. The United States is in that group. And Wales is in that group. Now, today, we're going to look at 2 of the 4. Now, the U.S. men's national team, I want to take an episode. Next week, we are just going to focus in and a standalone episode on the U.S. men's national team. But I really want to talk about Wales and England, particularly today. Now, that is the group. You can see the players. There's Harry Kane. There's Gareth Bale. We're going to talk about those 2 today, of course, among others. But Iran is the one that I'm really not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about today. They're ranked 22nd in FIFA. Iran, as I looked through the roster and as I thought about players, I didn't really think of any that had hobby implications. And so we're going to pass right through. We're not going to talk too much about the Iranian national team. We are going to focus in today on Wales. I got a couple names for you. One you'll know, maybe one you don't, but they are in the top 20 in FIFA's ranking system. They're ranked 19th. And the name that should stand out to you, the name that should be the first one that comes to mind when you think of the Wales national team is Gareth Bale. Now, my question, maybe the question you should be asking yourself, how much does Gareth Bale have left in the tank? He's 33 years old. Now, if you look at his index on Card Ladder, you can see that he only has 4 total cards in card ladder. I always tell and encourage you, when you're looking at card ladder, if you have card ladder and you look at the indexes, make sure you look at the total number of cards. There are only 4 there, and they're all his 2017 kabooms. So you're really only getting the perspective of 1 card in the index. Now, there are different grades there, but you're only getting 1 card. But Gareth Bale has been in the news a lot lately, and maybe not the most positive news. But nobody can deny the trophies that he has won with Real Madrid. 5 Champions League trophies. That's a big deal. Now, 4 of those he was very active in. Last year when Real Madrid won the trophy, he had already kind of started to be frozen out of Real Madrid, and really a lot of his time, the only time he was getting was in the national team. He's since made the move to LAFC, and he's playing in MLS. But Gareth Bale is leading Wales to the World Cup for the first time since 1958. Now, this somewhat concerns me as a U.S. men's national team, because I'm starting to think like Cinderella story. Can they get out of the group? Can they make an impact? It's, just 1958. It's been so many years. They do have some really great players that play for them. Could they upset a couple teams and make it into the, round of 16? Anything is possible when you do have quality like Gareth Bale. But if you're looking for cards of Gareth Bale, and know that he has really accomplished a lot in the soccer community and the football world, and you're like, you know what, I think that he's a player that I resonate with. Again, all of these players, find players you like, find players you love. One of his first cards, I think this is the only card that he has in his Southampton jersey. This is the 2007. This is the Coca-Cola Championship Panini card. It's only a PSA 8. You can pick this up for just under $150. So that not breaking the bank by any stretch of the imagination. For me as an Arsenal guy, I'm probably not running out and grabbing Gareth Bale's because of all the times I've seen him score against Arsenal, against Spurs. But if you're locked and loaded on Gareth Bale, great, and you can find some early stuff, 2007. And if your wheels are spinning, you're saying, okay, he's got 2007 stuff. That means he's probably in every set after that. Well, you want to be really careful, because Wales just being in the World Cup for the first time since 1958 means that he's not in the World Cup sets. He's not in 2014 Panini Prism World Cup. He's and he's not in 2018. So it's all those sets that are not attached to the World Cup. Now, if you like the autos, if you like the on-card autos, here's another option. Noir, you can pick up a Noir auto of Gareth Bale out of 75 for $150 as well. Now, that is raw, and that did sell at the end of August. But I think, if you have if he's one of your guys where you're like, he's iconic, he could do something for Wales in the World Cup, or maybe you're an LAFC fan. However, you resonate with Gareth Bale. If he's your guy, you can find a lot of great cards of Gareth Bale. A couple others, that iconic 2017 Topps Chrome set. Here is his blue refractor auto. Man, that blue it just pops. It looks good. It's an auto out of 150. This is a PSA 10. And this sold July 31st for $324. Now, you could compare that to the Ronaldos and Messis. I'm not saying he's on the same line, but I'm saying that it is an option if you are looking to get a player who has won a lot of trophies, is pretty iconic. Kind of go to the other image there. You can see that's the 2017 Panini Select. That is a PSA 10. That's the Zebra out of 25. That's a Pop 1, and that sold August 17th for $190. Not breaking the bank if Gareth Bale's your guy, and he might be one to keep an eye on, because if they start to make noise, if Wales makes any kind of, really kind of charge in Group B, a lot of eyes are going to be on them. Because England fans, U.S. men's national team fans are going to watch Gareth Bale play, because England has to play Wales and the United States has to play Wales. So a lot of eyes are going to be on Gareth Bale. Now, as we continue, the younger name that I just want to throw out there to you is Brennan Johnson. He's 21. He's a forward. He plays for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. He's off to a pretty good start. 7 games, 2 goals. I believe last year he was at Lincoln City on loan and had double-digit goals. He doesn't have many cards. He actually only has really that one, and that's his Leaf Pro Set autograph. This is his blue auto. This is out of 50. It sold for $20.50 September 17th. Now, I bring his auto up. If you are a Brennan Johnson fan, Nottingham Forest, the only thing that I would caution you here is I personally am not a fan of non-licensed product. That's just me. And if you look at the image, you can see that there's no crest. There's no Nottingham Forest crest. It's not licensed. The auto on Brennan Johnson is not the greatest. There's really no other cards. I'm going to wait to see what the checklists look like for the World Cup releases. But for me, I'm not gonna buy into Brennan Johnson with a Leaf auto. It's not licensed, so it's not for me. So those are the two names that you could look at for Wales as they enter the World Cup. There might be some others. If I'm missing one and you're like, hey, Andrew, you didn't talk about X, Y, or Z, drop it in the comments below. I would love to know who you guys are looking at for Wales, especially with marquee games against England and against the U.S. men's national team. We're going to move on, and a majority of our player talk today is all about England. They're one of the favorites. They're top 5 in FIFA rankings. There are high expectations, finishing runner-up at Euro 2020. They're expected to perform and to perform well at the World Cup in Qatar. Now, here's the squad. Now, there's a few names that I want to say, didn't make this friendly. Now, this is just the squad for the friendlies here that are coming up. But there are a few names that are not on this list. And the two that stand out to me the most, both play for Manchester United. Marcus Rashford is not on this list. And some of you might sit there and say, duh, because he hasn't really been playing and hasn't really played extremely well. Others might say, you know what? He needs to be on this roster. The other name, I bet you're already kind of figuring out, Jadon Sancho is not on this list. He hasn't played poorly. He's played pretty well. And I know these are just the friendlies, so this is not the final roster for the World Cup, but it got my mind kind of cranking of who's not on this list. The other name that is on this list is Calvin Phillips, and he is not on this list anymore. He has since been removed. I believe Jordan Henderson has been called up, the midfielder from Liverpool, to take his spot. And we'll talk about the implications, like I said, of Calvin Phillips missing out. So I do want to talk about quite a few players for the England squad. Take your pick. Some of you are probably running down this list right now if you can see it. If you're listening online, maybe you have knowledge of the England squad already, but I'm just going to pull a few names. We're going to start from the defensive side, the back four. We're going to move our way up to the forwards, but there's a lot of names that I want to talk about. I love debate. I love talking about, who should start, who should not. I think the biggest debate right now for England is who plays right back in the opening game in Qatar. So I'm going to pose you the question. Who do you rather want at right back for Qatar if you're England? Do you want Reece James or do you want Trent Alexander-Arnold? There's a lot of people with a lot of opinions on this. I've put up two kind of cards here. We're not going to dive too much into these guys, but if you can, age-wise, Reece James is 22. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 23. So similar ages. You can look at his Chronicles Donruss. This is his laser gold out of 25. It is a PSA 8 for Reece James. This sold September 19th for $306. Now, it is a pop one, and there are 4 higher, but $306 to get in on a very, very low-numbered Reece James. On the flip side, Trent Alexander-Arnold does have cards in that iconic 2017 Topps Chrome UEFA set. This is his PSA 10, his purple refractor. That's out of $250. That sold August 29th for $242.50. So really, those are price points that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people could make a decision, could look at the scope and say, you know what? I think I'm comfortable going with Reece James for $306. Or I'm going to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold for 240, 250. Now, the thing that you got to be careful is there's two players who are very careful, are very capable of playing right back for England. Whoever does not take the role as starter, you may see a dip in their prices. If they're not playing, they're not scoring, they're not assisting, they don't have the opportunity to make those iconic moments happen. And ultimately, you're probably going to see a slide in their prices. So do you want Reece James or do you want Trent Alexander-Arnold? I think for England to be successful at the World Cup, again, me personally, I think defense is going to be so important for them. For me personally, I want to see Reece James play for England and start for England. I just think he plays a better defensive game. He still can get forward. I feel like Trent Alexander-Arnold sometimes is always pushing forward and sometimes does get caught off and caught up, can't get back on defense. And I just think Reece James is a better defender. Some of you might not agree. That's okay. But for me, it's Reece James starting for England. Now, here is the guy who could benefit the most with Calvin Phillips being out. Now, I consume content a lot too. I love listening to soccer podcasts. One of the podcasts that I love listening to is Soccer Cards United, and they call the 2020-2021 class the Jude class. They are extremely high. Jude Bellingham, he's 19 years old playing for BVB. And you can see that his rookie autos really show how people value Jude Bellingham. This is his neon green out of 99. It's a PSA 10. It's a Pop 5, real soul pop. This sold September 19th for $2,500. It's a great looking card. I really think that Jude Bellingham is going to be good. Now, will I say he's going to be great? No, you can't predict the future. But at 19, watching him play for BVB and seeing what he's capable of, I don't find it coincidence that the guys for Soccer Cards United is calling it the Jude class. There are so many other players in that class. That class is loaded. You know, Pedri's in that class. You have a number of other guys in that class, and here they call it the Jude class. For me, you know, Jude is one to watch, and with Calvin Phillips out, Jude Bellingham only got 50 total minutes at Euro 2020. I think that's going to change. He is going to play a role, I think, and I think that he's going to play a big role for England. Does that mean I'm telling you to run out and get all the Jude Bellinghams you can? No. Start to do your research. Look at what cards are out there. This is just the Topps Chrome UCL from 2020, 2021. There's so much more out there. I think you guys, there might be a play here. I had an opportunity, I had a work trip this week, and I was able to get to 3 card shows in 2 days. 2 in Wisconsin, 1 in Michigan. My work trip was in Michigan. I was looking for really Jude Bellingham, and I was looking for a little bit of Phil Foden. And I will tell you, that is my Donald Duck moment. There was very little to no soccer found for me. I found a few things, and if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a few of those, one of those cards here today. But it was really, really disappointing because I thought, you know what, Jude Bellingham might be one for me that I'm looking for. Foden, that's another one that I'm looking for. Young English players, I've picked up a few here and there. I just want to be, clarify. Like I like Jude Bellingham. But I would say make sure you're comfortable at the price point and make sure you do your research and you know what cards are out there, which ones you like, and make sure you're buying into players that you like. Don't buy players just because you think that they're going to go up in price. Like for me, it's always, if I own a Jude Bellingham rookie and he doesn't make the World Cup roster or something catastrophic happens, I still like Jude Bellingham as a player, and I'm okay having that card. I am a collector. I do sell cards. But I ultimately love soccer first. I love football and I love the players. And that's really what got me in, football first, cards second. And I just love watching these guys play. So I don't go all in. I don't buy 50 Jude Bellinghams or I don't buy 50 Phil Fodens. I just like to have cards of the player so I can look at the card and watch the player and feel like I'm connected or attached there. But Bellingham, I think with the Phillips out, could be an interesting stalwart in that midfield for England going forward. Next one is the one I just mentioned, Phil Foden. Phil Foden plays for Manchester City, and he's on that team that just seems to be flying at all cylinders. But this is his PSA 10. This is his Optic 2018 rookie. And I know a lot of you in the comments before I said, oh, it's just base. Like, why are you throwing base at us? I've got the Optic base for you today. I just wanted you guys to see, where it was and how, it crept up to $200 at one point and has steadily been on the decline. And that, you can pick a PSA 10 up of the Optic. There is a Donruss too, so be really careful that Optic at the bottom. If you're new, that 2018 set, there was Optic, there was Donruss rookies. The Donruss is that paper rookie. This is more of the, the step up, if you will. But you can pick those up for just over $75. So if you're like, I really like Phil Foden, but I can't drop hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you can get a great PSA 10 Phil Foden for just over $75. Now, if you want that step up, there are that same set. Here is that Optic. This is the 2018 Donruss Optic Purple Velocity. It's out of 125. It's a PSA 9. This is a Pop 5. There are 1810s, but this just sold September 15th for $510. So if you want numbered, if you want his rookie, if you want, that short print, if you want to invest, or I shouldn't even say invest, if you like Phil Foden and think, what, he's going to do well, by all means. The one thing I wanted to just throw out there, and I always say, I'm not going to talk about Erling Haaland on this episode, but, I think sometimes you just got to, right? With Erling Haaland's success and the goals that he's pumping in, the question I have for everybody, and this is what I've been thinking about, do you think that causes the players around him and their values to start to decline? Now, some of you might say, no, Man City's going to win, and that's going to be great, and they're all going to be winning. It's going to be great. But I think a lot of it is personal accolades, goals going in, assists going in. If Haaland is scoring at a breakneck pace, and he's on pace to break the Premier League record for goal scoring, those goals have to be coming from other players. So is Phil Foden not scoring as much? Is he facilitating? Is the assists going up? And then, Kevin De Bruyne is there as well. And Kevin De Bruyne is just, it's beautiful to watch Kevin De Bruyne play soccer or football, but my question is that with the Haaland increase in prices, are we going to see a slight decrease in players like Foden if he's not scoring at the same clip that he might have last year? Now, that's just one man's opinion. You got thoughts on that? Don't hesitate. Leave it in the comment. Like, this is just a conversation, and I think it's one that we need to talk about because if all the goals are coming from the feet of Erling Haaland, it may come at the expense of other players. But that doesn't change the importance Phil Foden has for England at the World Cup. And like I said, when I went to the 3-card shows, I was looking for Fodens and Bellinghams, and I do like England, and I like their attacking force, and I think Foden could play an integral role again in that team moving forward. But there are options, there are tiers. Again, make sure you're looking at the research. Make sure you don't just go out and buy the first Foden or the first Bellingham or the first Trent Alexander-Arnold that you find. Find the card that you like. Find the card that you think is a great purchase, and make sure you're doing the homework. Make sure you're doing the work, putting in the work. These are just some examples. Take them as examples and run with them and make good, educated decisions. That's what we're here for, is for you guys to gain knowledge, to gain insight, and then to use that and then apply it as you look at eBay or as you look at Card Ladder Pro or wherever you're getting your information. I think it's really important that we constantly be doing our research and making sure that we're comfortable. Don't overspend if you can't overspend. Some of us are on extremely low budgets. Some of our budgets are a little bit higher, and that's okay. We can find cards in our price point, no matter who you are, whether you're a veteran or whether you're new to football. But I think it's really important that you are constantly looking at your own research. Got to talk about my guy, Bukayo Saka. If he's the Arsenal guy. I love Bukayo Saka. I get to watch him play on a weekly basis. I think he's going to be big for England as well in the World Cup. I think these guys could work really well together. But this is his 2019-2020 Panini Chronicles Pitch Kings believe it's the level 4, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason I picked this particular card is because it has the RC logo attached to it. He's 22. He's another young English national team player. This is, as a PSA 9, it's a pop 39. So there's some of them out there, more than the pop 5s or the pop 1s. And there's 16 higher than that. It's a great looking card. You can get this card September 5th. It sold for $650. But I do like the RC logo. I think it's important to me. I recently got into break for Merlin. I was hunting Ryan Cherky, and then I found out that he doesn't have the RC logo on Merlin. That's a different story, but I really do like the RC logo there, and you can see that at the bottom if you're watching on YouTube. If you're at home, it does have the RC logo. I think it's the only one that does, and that's why I threw it up here and thought, you know what, if you're interested, if you want that rookie card or you want it to say rookie card, this is a great opportunity, or this is a great card that has potential. Will it go to the moon? I'm never going to give you that kind of advice. I know some people have asked, hey, do you think this card's going to go up? This card's going to go down. If you're looking for a rookie card of Bukayo Saka and you want the RC logo, this is the one that I found. We got to talk about the striker, the number 9, and that is Harry Kane. How is Harry Kane going to do in the World Cup? Thoughts? Comments? I would love to know. It's hard for me to talk about Harry Kane, but I do think give credit where credit is due. Harry Kane is a great striker. As an Arsenal fan, you never know what he's going to bring to the table in any North London derby, and you just hope that he doesn't get more than maybe 1 goal. Now, Harry Kane, to me, he is already this year, if you've been following the Premier League, I know this isn't any cards, but he is 3rd on the all-time in goals in the Premier League. Alan Shearer, number 1, Wayne Rooney, number 2. Harry Kane is already number 3. He's 29. And I still look back at that 2020-2021 season. He was 1st in goals and assists. I mean, the guy just keeps pumping in the goals. He sets up his teammates. He plays really great football. And here he is going to be, in all intents and purposes, leading the line for England going into the World Cup. Now, you can go all the way back to 2014. He's got that rookie card. I know the PSA slab there. If you're watching, it says 2015 Topps Premier Club. It's a 2014-2015 Topps Premier Club. This is a PSA 9. Sold September 7th for $235.50. And so very early stuff that you can find of Harry Kane. It's there. It's available. If you don't kind of want the earlier stuff, if you want to stay kind of mainstream, he does have, he's in 2018 Panini Prism World Cup. He's not in 2014 Panini Prism World Cup, but this is his red prism out of 99. A PSA 10 for Harry Kane from that 2018 World Cup was sold September 19th. $157.50. So if you have guys that you're high on, if you have guys that you're looking at and saying, okay, if he starts scoring goals in the World Cup, I think that his prices might trend upwards. The thing with Harry Kane for me, and this is not a dig on any Spurs fans out there, I think if you talk to them, if Harry Kane was to deliver a World Cup for England, what would that do to his pricing? If Harry Kane was able to win the Premier League for Tottenham, what would that do to his pricing? Heck, if Harry Kane won the FA Cup for Tottenham, it's been a very, very long time since Spurs have won a major trophy. He's hung around. Now, I know there's been rumors about where he's going to go and he wants to transfer away. But he's 29 and he's still at Spurs. And as an Arsenal fan looking at that roster, they are good. Tottenham is not a pushover. They are going to compete this year. And I think if he is going to compete on a team and if he delivers a trophy to Tottenham, I think you're going to see a lot of people respect Harry Kane for all that he's done for Spurs. That's just, again, my thoughts. But you've got a club that has gone a extremely long time without winning a trophy. If he delivers, you got a lot of people looking at Harry Kane saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's one that I just think is important. Now, let's roll. Let's finish up today. Who's hot and who's not? Now, if you looked at the list of England and for their friendlies and the roster that was there, I looked over that roster. Instantly, a name jumped out at me. And that's Ivan Toney, 26-year-old. He plays for Brentford, and he has gotten off to a flying start this year in the Premier League. 5 goals, 2 assists in 7 games. Pretty great numbers. If you're looking at his 2021, 2022 impeccable rookie card, this is the blue. It's out of 20. This is his rookie card now, and it sold September 11th for $81.05. So if you're looking for a guy, now he's been called up for the friendly, will he make the final roster? That would still be, jury's out on that one. But he is playing well. He's getting his call up. Will he see action in those friendlies? We're going to find out real soon here if he's going to get those minutes for England. But he is flying. Got the call up. Congratulations to Tony. It's great to see players, outside some of the major clubs too, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Man Uniteds of the world. Brentford here has a representation. Here is Ivan Toney playing for England in the friendlies here over the next couple weeks. Last, who's not? And for me, it's Mason Mount. Now, Mason Mount, great season last year, 23, really is in that center of the midfield for Chelsea. He has played 397 minutes of Premier League football this year. 6 games. No goals. No assists. Now, I know there's been some problems with, management. We had Tuchel come out. We've got Graham Potter coming in. Ownership change. There's a lot of things going on at Chelsea. But here, Mason Mount putting up goose eggs in the Premier League. Now, that's a concern to me. As you've got to, I think, a lot of times, I think it runs through Mason Mount. I've said it in posts on Instagram before, as Mason Mount goes, so goes Chelsea. And I do truly believe that. I think he's got to pick it up. He's got to find the goals. He's got to find the way to distribute and to get those assists. But you can see that, his 2019, 2020, this is the impeccable. This is out of 25 on Card Auto. You can pick that up. That sold September 17th, $717.50. I think he's got to pick it up now. I don't think that Mason Mount is, I'm not saying, if he doesn't pick it up, he's going to be left off the team. Not what I'm saying. But I think it would benefit England if he could start to show some production in the Premier League as he starts to build momentum, maybe heats up a little bit and is really clicking on all cylinders as England goes to Qatar. Those were just a few names. I hope that they help as you start to kind of wrap your brain around, who are some of the players that are going to be on England, who's going to be on Wales. But there is one team that we have not discussed in Group B, and that is the U.S. men's national team. So next week, I thought we could take a deep dive looking at the players, some of the players that are leading, are our captains who we all know, maybe some players that might be fringe. If you're following the U.S. men's national team, you're going to know them all. But if you're new, if you're just starting to roll in, if you're checking in because the U.S. men's national team, it intrigues you, Qatar intrigues you, and you're new to the World Cup, stick around. We're going to talk about some names. We're going to talk about some people. Hey, I just really want to finish today. I want to thank you guys. Again, just this outpouring of support in the DMs of my Instagram. If you got questions, if you have things that you want me to talk about next week, especially talking about the U.S. men's national team, let me know. Send me a message. I would be more than happy to kind of work it in, because if you're having questions, like I told my students, long ago and far away, if you have questions, chances are other people have questions, or other people have the same thought and want to discuss it. So I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week. Can't wait to see you again next week, because every week that we are together on the road to the World Cup, it's getting closer and closer and closer. And I can't wait. Guys, have a good one. Thanks so much. See you next week.